Strattera is indicated for the treatment of ADHD in children aged 6 years and over and adolescents. Strattera is part of a total treatment program. Important safety information will be presented at the end of this video.
When you have kids, your first thought is you hope they come out and they're healthy and everything, Beyond that, you don't really jump into it thinking, oh my God, my kid might have ADD or ADHD. You don't know what you're going to get. I think there's a lot of things that bring tears to my eyes, thinking back over just picking your kid up every day at school and rolling down the window and having the teacher just tell you, all these horrible things about your kid that you just know he's a good kid. And, one school we didn't even make it through the door. He spent 2 days gripping the door frame, with the teachers trying to drag him in with telling us to go away and him crying and screaming. That's a pretty tough thing as a parent to have to go through. So it was really disruptive for the whole family. It was tough.
I teach kindergarten. Jack was in my class last year. He's a first grader now. Jack had a hard time sitting still, whether it was at circle time or in his chair. He needed to be physically moving.
Group reading time, he'd just start kicking, and thought it was, and I don't even know if he knew he was doing it, but he just was.
He would hide under our easel, get very angry, get upset, needed to get himself away so he could kind of regroup and try to get back on task. There were days he never could regroup. If he had a hard start in the morning or something happened midday, we just kind of lost him for the day.
When my phone would ring and I could look at the caller ID and I saw it was school, it was, oh God, what does she do now? She had an impulse control problem, and that crossed over into the classroom.
Molly's inability to focus kept her from being able to succeed academically at the pace that she should have.
She could not concentrate, could not sit still, couldn't stay in her seat. Molly was almost 10 years old and never had a sleepover, never had a best friend, because Molly couldn't keep them. She was usually in the center of a conflict. And so that, you knew when it started affecting her socially and her personality was changing, that it was time for us as parents to step in.
Jamar didn't have a lot of friends. He played alone a lot. He'd become angry a lot. Sports, he was afraid to do anything like that. I'm going to try out for the team. He'd say that to me the day of the tryouts. Did you try out? Well, no, they needed any excuse. They needed another paper. They needed you to sign this, and I was too late.
Jamar, before being inattentive was a big thing. Like, having not a clue. If somebody could be talking to him and he could just be sitting there staring at him and have not a clue of what they're saying, he'd just be stuck. Like, you ask him a question, what's 2 + 2? And he'd say, 2 + 2.
Chaos is the word. Chaos, chaos, chaos. Disorganization, no organization. He could never find anything. He'd lose everything. He'd lose his clothes. He'd lose his backpack. He'd lose books. He'd forget to bring materials home from school that he needed, and we'd have to go back to school, try to catch the teacher, and I felt like I was going to school at one point. I don't know, but to be around him was to always be upsetting. It was an upsetting situation.
Jack's doctor is a wonderful older Yankee type of doctor. When I'd go in and I'd be in tears in his office talking about Jack, the pickup routines and the daily problems we were having at school, he would call me and ask me, how I was getting along with Jack or how the situations at school were progressing with Jack.
We were concerned. We were concerned for Molly. We were concerned for her well-being, her health. And of course, the first thing we did was go to the pediatrician and make sure that Molly was physically very healthy. Then we knew the next step to go when we called Dr. Cottingham.
Molly's pattern of behavior really fit very closely with ADHD. She's pretty typical in terms of the level of hyperactivity, her impulsivity, and her inattention. I mean, she's a child with a combined type of ADHD. ADHD is a brain disorder, but it's a disorder that we really have good treatments for.
It's, scared me and freaked me out, and the thought of giving my child a medicine every day really...
We thought about it a lot. You had to put yourself in the child's place, and Molly was really excited that there was something that could help her, because I think at that point she realized that not all of her actions and her behavior were in her control.
I think ADHD is a lot like somebody who can't see and needs to wear glasses. That when you're not able to focus, you can't really work or function as well. And with wearing your glasses, it gives you the help that you need. And I think taking medication for ADHD provides that same ability to focus and see what you need to do.
The doctor had told us that the Strattera could take as long as a month to work. And to just take it day by day and see how Molly did.
I think for most patients, they get a response from the medication within the first week or two. But for some patients, it takes as long as 4 to 6 weeks.
They were going to start her out on a low dose of the Strattera, and to keep in mind that we would have to, and most likely have to adjust the medication.
The most common side effects are an upset stomach, which is lessened when taken with food, as well as some sedation, or they get tired. So taking it in the evening prior to bedtime is a really nice time to take the medication. Strattera is taken once a day. Some people find that it's better for them to take it twice a day. We're all different and unique, that's the beauty, but that's also the challenge in terms of choosing a medication and managing the benefits of the medication.
There wasn't too much of a difference at first. I went to Jamar's doctor, and then he told me about how it would take some time for it to take effect, and just hang in there, because you may not see the difference right away, but if you stay the course, you will see a difference.
I'd say about day 10 that we had Jack on Strattera, when he came downstairs and I was still asleep, and he walked in my room and he was fully dressed.
Instead of being almost goofy, like on a sugar high, he's now just, a normal, regular child.
Molly wasn't sitting on her feet, wasn't twirling her hair, curling her hair, or flipping her head back and forth.
He was thinking in sequence now. There weren't any missing parts.
And his teachers started noticing right away, he was having good days consistently, and which I had never heard in my life before. He's still Jack, he's still, kind of out there and everything, but it feels great to be able to step back and watch Jack do his homework by himself and not have to be hovering over him.
And after another, week or so on the medication, the phone calls from school started to stop. How'd you do in martial arts?
I broke like 5 or 4 boards.
I coached her in her fight against another young lady that went here that was really good and was a higher belt than her, but Molly won. And because she concentrated and she listened to the instructions.
She has friends. She has friends that call.
A meeting, meet the teacher night. We spent the whole evening getting Jamar signed up for football. He wouldn't let me go, wouldn't let me leave without going to the coaches, meeting with the coaches, and he's doing well. He's doing so well in school, at home.
I think I've always had a great relationship with Jack, and I mean, he and I really, he makes me laugh, and he's the funniest little kid, and I've always been able to see that, but a lot of other people haven't been able to see that, and so I think that's the nice thing, that finally people are getting, you know, a dose of what Jack's really like, you know. It seems like he's grown up a lot in the period of time since he's been on Strattera, and all of a sudden he's doing the things that I've always anticipated him doing at this age.
And his room, you can go look at it.
Molly is quick, she's smart, she's funny. The world is open to her.
I think he might go into the military, I'm not sure, as some kind of specialist. I'm sure I see him going to college.
He says he wants to be an archaeologist, and some days he says he wants to be an architect, and those things are, for, you know, something that I see him doing either of those, whereas when we couldn't get him, you know, through kindergarten, who knows what was going to happen, so.
The family who is waffling, having a hard time deciding whether or not to medicate your child, put yourself, or try and put yourself in their shoes. Try and go through a day that they go through every single day. And ask yourself why you would not give a medication, a Strattera, a chance to work.
Jamar is doing such a beautiful job. Now, I can't tell you what Strattera has done for him.
To a kid who has ADD, I would say, just keep on going, don't give up, and stay tough.
Give it a chance to work, and be patient.
Hi, you guys.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
How was school?
Good.
You have a good time?
Yep.
What'd you do?
Nothing.
Your child should not take Strattera at the same time or within 2 weeks of taking an MAOI, or if he or she has narrow-angle glaucoma. Tell your doctor if your child has a history of high or low blood pressure, increased heart rate, or any heart or blood vessel disease. Some children may lose weight when starting treatment with Strattera. As with all ADHD medications, growth should be monitored during treatment. Most children in clinical studies who experienced side effects were not bothered enough to stop using Strattera. The most common side effects were upset stomach, decreased appetite, nausea or vomiting, dizziness, tiredness, and mood swings. Strattera has not been tested in children under 6 years of age. Patient information is enclosed in the treatment information kit.